Hey, everybody. Happy Friday. Still working on my lighting here. Maybe that's a little better. Um, happy Friday. Super excited to see you all again today. In Philly, it's super rainy and cold and feels like a wet fall day. So I hope wherever you're at is warmer and sunnier. Um, and today is the last day of the Sales to Scale Challenge. My name is Emmy Kirschner, if you're just tuning in for the first time or you're new to the group. And over the last week, I've been giving you great content to help you improve your sales game. We've talked about connecting to your vision, the three roadblocks and the three mindsets that can keep you stuck, and primarily from closing. But really, hey Eileen, how are you? Thank you for being here every day. I appreciate that. But how you can really become a lover of sales and the sales process. Hey Janine, how are you? Happy Friday. And Wednesday we talked about getting into your client avatar and who, really getting narrow, like who are you serving and why that's so important, because you want to be able to create, incredible content, etc., for your people to really identify you as the problem solver. And then yesterday we talked about streamlining your offerings and understanding what that sales cycle looks like for you, right? And and really creating a place for your, and this is through the streamlined offerings, but creating a place for you to continue to work with your clients, offer them, not necessarily new, but new opportunities for them to grow with you, because having your clients continue to work for you takes a lot, or work with you, takes a lot less time, obviously, than to find and to bring in new clients. So as we're wrapping up today, we're going to talk about kind of the sales conversation and overcoming those objections that everybody dreads getting. But before I do that, I also want to just share with you that I had talked about prizes. I'm going to be giving away complimentary access to my 90-day six-figure accelerator program. So one person's going to win that, and then 5 people will win the Tribe of Leaders Biz School lifetime access. I'm going to be pulling randomly out of everybody who participated, and be pulling randomly on Monday, and letting you know who, excuse me, still have cough, but who the winners are on Monday. So that's what's happening then. It gives you today and over the weekend to get all the homework done. So if you're jumping into this a little bit late, or your week's kind of gone awry, get everything done so that you can have access to incredible content. And if this has been super helpful for you too, and you're really ready to knock it out of the park with your sales game, I'm going to just invite you to a free strategy call. So I want to be able to give you incredible opportunity to hang out with me, 30 minutes. Let's go over where you feel like you're stuck in creating more sales and bringing in more clients. And I'll put a link in the comments below for you to set up a call with me for that too. So let's dive in. Super excited. And I want to go over kind of the anatomy of a sales call right now, so that because there's a strategy behind it when you're talking to people. And the same thing is true for a landing page as well. Okay. The copy is a little bit different, but it's still kind of the same strategy. With the copy, you would want to have more of a hook, as opposed to the introduction on the call. And I'm just going to stay with a phone call right now, just to keep everything laser focused. But you can take what I'm talking about and apply it to a landing page as well. Right, so you want to have a short introduction, but you also want to position yourself as the leader, and you are running the conversation. All right, and this is really important, because if you let the person who is, your potential lead drives a conversation, you're not going to be able to find out what their problems are and how that you can solve them as effectively. And there's certain things that you want to be looking for, like, are they a right fit? Are they committed to change? Are they committed to, themselves and being in this process with you? Are they going to be fun to work with, and do they have problems that you can solve, obviously? So you want to have a short introduction, but allow that part of that introduction into the building the trust and know like and trust phase with, hey, I'm really glad to be on the call with you. This is how it's going to work. And start asking questions from there. You want to get a sense of where are they right now? What are the problems that they're having right now? Where are they stuck? What's going on? So be inquisitive, ask open-ended questions. So you don't want to get obviously into the yes-no place, right? And then you want to create the scenario for them as you're transitioning from the problem, right? Creating where they're at right now into what the solution is. What does that, if everything was taken away, right, that's causing them problems, where would they be? What would happen for them? Yes, absolutely. Build posture, right? And while you're doing this, you also want to be seeding. And what that means is talking about, like, oh, hey, you know what? My client so-and-so experienced this too. So one, you are not alone. And two, this is how I solved it for them. So you want to be talking just generally about that. It doesn't have to be every 2 seconds, but get that in and start building from the problem phase of the conversation into the this is what the new you could look like. Imagine that. Help build their dream. Get it really big and solid and visual and feeling and contextual for them, so that they're like, yes, this is what I want. And then you kind of want to bring them back down and look at, what happens if they don't solve this problem, right? And it could be everything from, I want to make more money. I need a new logo. I need help, with my kids. I need a better relationship. I need time off. This works for everything, right? Just think about what it is in your business that will be the main pain points that most people experience, and then help bring those to light, and then bring it to the place of I just totally lost my train of thought, but why are they stuck? Where are they experiencing the pain right now, and what's going to happen if they don't change it, right? What happens right then and there? What happens in 6 months? What happens in 3 years if they don't get this problem fixed? And ask those questions, like really get people solidified in, hey, I need to make a change right now, right? Because they've been uncomfortable for a really long time, and it's much easier to play it safe and be uncomfortable than it is to do something differently, right? And particularly when it means investing in something. So as you're having this conversation, and then you're identifying, well, what happens if, they don't take action? It's a great time to be able to say to them, this is something that I help my clients with all the time. Are you interested in hearing how I work? And then take them through that path, right? Give them, and you don't want to focus on the features of your program, your thing, whatever, right? Like, they don't need to know that if you're in coaching, for instance, that it's, 6 calls and, they're 30 minutes each. 30-second coaching would be super cool, right? Like instantaneous fix. But 30-minute calls, like, that's not what people are interested in at that second. They want to know about your program or whatever you're delivering, from how is it going to help them. So you want to circle back and use their language and be like, imagine if you didn't have, this feeling of overwhelm every day in your business, or you had better brand visibility, or you had an incredible relationship with your spouse, right? Well, my program, blah, 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 does X, Y, and Z for you. So you want to focus on the results, right? Not the features and benefits. They'll ask you about the features and benefits, but think about how many times you've heard an offer and you really don't even know what it entails. You just know that you want it because they, you know that they can solve your problem. Okay. The other piece is that when you get to the investment, you want to take a few minutes, not a few minutes, but a few, like a breath, one, and really get grounded in this is what I offer. Like, this is the investment. Be solid in the space of what you provide. Because if you're like, it's, $3,000 or $500 or $497, if you come across as being nervous about that, people are going to pick that up and they'll be less likely to want to invest with you. So practice that. Practice saying, it's $6 gajillion to invest with me and for me to solve your problems. Okay? And say it with confidence. And then this is the biggest and I think best sales advice that I've ever had from a coach of mine that I worked with a couple of years ago is after you lay out what the investment is, be quiet. It's going to be torture because you're going to want to talk and people that are, hearing you, right? They need to figure it out. Where are they getting the money from? Are they really ready? Do they believe you? And this is where the real objections come in, is after the investment piece is, and everything they say after that is really becoming detective work, right? So the pieces that you want to start focusing on is, did I provide, value in this call? Do they trust me, right? Do they trust themselves? Are they starting to question whether or not they can do this or they have the ability to do this, right? Do they question the product? All right, so whatever it is that comes up for them, they may be like, all right, here's my credit card. Let's go. I'm ready. Or send me the invoice, or, how do we move forward? I'm all good. You will get that, but the bulk of the time you're going to get objections. And I want you to expect the objections. Stop being surprised that somebody has an objection to what you offer. It's going to be so much easier for you, and you can put on your detective hat a lot easier and more quickly if you know that it's coming. Look forward to it, right? This is part of you being the problem solver. And if you know that those objections really come down to one of three things, right? They don't believe in you, they don't believe in the product, or they don't believe in themselves. Okay? If you know that, yes, those roadblocks, exactly. So if you know that, then you can circle back as, they're coming up with, I don't have the time, I have to check with somebody, I don't have the money, etc. And circle back with them and determine where it is that those three things, you didn't quite answer their questions before sharing what the investment is, right? And the way you can do that is asking like, oh, well, what were you expecting the investment to be? So that will tell you, are they like totally way off base, right? Maybe they were expecting a $3,000 thing to be $100, and maybe they just didn't have the information. Maybe that's the limit of where they make their investments. And that may not be a great client for you, and you may want to let them go. Or you may want to see, if you can bring them into the space of recognizing the value of making a higher investment. And it's always an investment, right? Like, they're making some change, something, even if they're buying a pair of jeans, like they want to feel good in what they're wearing, right? So think about it that way. The second piece is for things like the, I don't have the money. You can ask them questions, and some of these may sound bold and uncomfortable, but believe me, just ask them. Put it out there. I've never had anybody hang up on me because I ask these questions, and it allows you to help them. So this is really the place where you're bridging and you're starting to be the problem solver, is you're helping them get unstuck, right? It's overwhelming to make change. They're comfortable being uncomfortable and staying safe. So, if they're questioning their ability to do any of these things, then, Your job is to give them that comfort and allow them to start, moving to the next place, to get to that like, you just said you wanted to experience X, Y, and Z. So like, it sounds like you're really committed to that, and how committed are you on a scale of 1 to 10? And if they say below a 7, then they're not really committed. And again, you may want to just end the phone call there. From the perspective of I have to talk to my spouse, you want to validate that, because a lot of people do make decisions together. You want to also make sure, like, who's the decision maker? Is it the person you're talking to, or is it their spouse? Because if it's their spouse that's the decision maker about investments, then you want to get that person involved in the sales call, because they're the ones that are going to be giving the final okay. Now, what I do for my business, and this may not be applicable for everybody, but think about how you can shift it to work for you. And so I'll be like, oh, great. If you need to talk to your spouse, I totally get that. Let's get so-and-so on a call with us, because frequently, in my experience, they have questions that you may not have thought of, and then you're trying to explain that or whatever. And for the most part, most people will be like, oh, let's go do that. Or, and I'll set up a call with both of them, and then they close because I've got the decision maker. Or they're like, no, I don't need to do that. And then they'll make the decision themselves. Okay. Would love to get some questions too, if this makes sense to you, and if it's helpful for you. The other thing with the I don't have the time, or I need to think about it, is ask questions. Again, you want to be in active listening. You want to be asking questions that are open-ended, but what do you need to think about? Right? A lot of times they're just backpedaling because they're unsure, and they're questioning themselves about whether or not they can make the change, right? They're kind of stuck. It gets scary, right? We've all been in those, like, I'm about to make or invest in a lot of, anything. I'm about to invest in something, whether it's buying a house or a pair of jeans, and maybe it's more than I thought of it would be, but look at the results. Okay. So ask them, what do you need to think about? That will give you information about pieces in the conversation that you may have missed. And as well, with the time, sometimes people are already starting to feel overwhelmed with that. How much time, do you think you need to do this? And then you can clarify for them, well, you only need, 30 minutes a week, or, a couple of hours, et cetera, et cetera. So those are a number of different ways to start overcoming objections more solidly and more confidently. What I don't want you to do is discount your product, your service, your offering. Okay? And I'm not saying that at times it's great to have that opportunity when you're launching something, or it's, special occasion where, maybe it's $100 off or whatever. But that's not the same as being on the call and being like, well, you thought it was going to be, $100 and it's really $5. So how about if I come down and it's $300? Like that negotiating discount. All right. That's a place of lack for you, and you want to create abundance. So think about how you can add value to something. Let me sweeten the deal, and I have this really cool ebook that will help get you started right away. So if you're ready to make the commitment today, I'll throw that in for you. That's the value add that you want to do, right? And it needs to be, and you want to choose something that you can easily offer as a value add that's not going to take a lot of time for you, or that can be, a huge investment for you. So with that, as I said, I hope this is really helpful for you. Again, if you're ready to really start upping your sales game, if you want to really work on overcoming objections, what I'd love to do is invite you to, as I said, a strategy call. We'll, figure out where you get stuck in your sales conversations, and I'll get you pointed in the best and right direction for you, so that you can start closing more clients. Because when you close more clients, your conversion ratio goes up, then you need fewer leads, less work, etc. And you'll be able to determine who your best clients are more easily and faster. So again, think about the conversation that you're having. Take them through that whole journey, right? Get into the introduction, lead the conversation. Super, super important. You want to drive the boat here. Create the place for where they're at right now. Where are the gaps? Where are their pain points? Bring them up to that solution of imagine how amazing it would be if all of these things were not in the way for you. Bring them back down into that. What happens if you don't change that right now? Create the place where you can make your offer. Be silent in making the investment. Allow people to work through their stuff. Ask them if they have questions, but let them speak first. Okay? And then, expect the objections. This is a huge mindset shift. If you're ready for those objections, they're coming. You can play with them and have fun with them and get curious and really help people solve problems from the beginning of your interactions with them. So I hope this is helpful. Have an amazing Friday, and I will see you all next week with the winners of the prizes. And as I said, you have a couple of days to finish up homework. Today's homework is 0, other than I would love for everybody to write down what you're grateful for this week and and what you learned. Like, what was the biggest takeaway? So that's your homework. So not 0. What you learned and the biggest takeaway is your homework, and you can post that in the comments below. So have an amazing Friday. All right. Well, Eileen, let's hop on a call. I love it. Happy Friday, everybody.